All right, we're live. Fresh Takes with Russo and Felice. I am Paul Russo. Across from me, as always, man, myth, legend himself, a rare Tuesday off for the kid, Nick Felice. Well, I mean off from, having to travel. Nick Felice. Nick, yep. How you doing? Glad to see you have your mask.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Paul.
I mean, you are the co-host of this show.
I was going to say it, but then I got stuck in that sentence, so I just went with it. But, this is episode number 93 now, Paul. And if you count the 5 that we did in our den before we got the gig here, that'd be 98.
We're approaching the C-note mark.
Yeah, we're going to have 2 100th episodes coming up. So 100th being a duo, and then 100th being here at Finger Lakes 1. So.
I'm probably going to have to grab some cookie cake again, aren't I?
Yeah, that's a good, get Pat on. Where is he?
Pat's at work. The busy boy. Now at Dick's in Auburn.
Yeah, we've been doing this a while now. So. Yeah.
By the way, shout out, you may notice, Nick, you know this for sure. I'm a big fan of baseball. Obviously Major League Baseball, but I'm a big fan of the minor league baseball as well. I'm a big advocate of what's been going on, unfortunately.
What are you wearing right now?
That's what I'm alluding to, Nick. I want you to – I'll give you an attempt to guess at least the location of this team.
Durham.
Oh, so close. No, it's –
hold on.
Oh.
Let me get another guess. What is it? Single A? Triple A?
They were single A. I believe there still will be single A in the –
Dunkirk.
No.
I don't know.
It's the Daytona Tortugas.
Oh. And who are they playing for?
The Cubs. They are the single A affiliate of the Cubs. They were a long time known as the Daytona Cubs. Daytona, home of Daytona Beach and Daytona International Speedway.
They're called the what now?
Daytona Tortugas. Spanish for turtle.
All right.
So,
that's a cool hat, though.
Thank you. I have another one on the way. Hopefully it will be here next week, and I will wear my other new hat.
Out of the 93 episodes that we've had on here, how many different hats do you think you've worn?
It's a good question. That actually would be a fun thing for our 100th episode if we do like a trivia thing. How many different hats have I worn?
Probably in the 50s.
No, I'm going to go lower than that.
Really?
I don't have 50 hats.
I
have a lot.
I just feel like you.
I have a lot of. Admittedly, I have a lot of hats, but I don't have that many hats.
I don't know.
Although maybe at one time I've gotten rid of some over the past year and a half to 2 years. So
now, what about like just different sports logos? Whether it's your sweatshirt, whether it's your shirt or hat.
That's probably like pushing.
It's a lot.
That's probably pushing the 50 mark. I bet.
Yeah.
Different
things.
Yeah. Let's show the people what we got on going on here today, Nick. NFL Divisional Round, we'll discuss that. Looking ahead to the Championship Sunday this weekend. We'll discuss the James Harden trade a little bit.
We might have to do an apology to Bills fans, but
I'm not.
Really?
No.
I'm sorry. Those are good.
I have another hot take for this week with them. So.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And you'll understand where I'm coming from this because I've been this player's probably single biggest fan outside of being a Bills fan about this guy.
I'm excited to hear it.
So, and then we'll discuss the latest MLB hot stove rumors, deals, all that stuff going on. Appears as though the stove is finally heating up a little bit. So we'll get going, obviously, with that. A lot of stuff happening in the past week with that, and we'll discuss that. Nick, anything before we get off the ground?
No, I think this is going to be the best episode we've ever had.
You love to hear it.
Yeah.
The stage is set for Championship Sunday. A lot of big headlines, really, actually, going into Sunday from the divisional round. So let's go with, in my mind, probably the biggest one so far. That would be Pat Mahomes being concussed in their 22-17 victory over the Browns. Browns in that game the whole way, pretty much.
How long did you try to figure out some of that last line there? Bucks head to Green Bay. You were trying to get the SSED, the something kind of word there.
Yeah. Well, no, I was going to leave it as Bucks to save character space.
But I like what you did there.
Mahomes
concussed.
Yeah.
Mars.
Suppressed. Yeah, I mean, let's be fair. That Rams Packers game was bad. It was just bad viewing television. We'll touch on it a little bit, obviously, but
carry on.
And honestly, we'll get into it more. But honestly, overall, that Buccaneers Saints game wasn't exactly that much better either. the AFC games are definitely better. I don't know if they were exactly better football played overall, but they were definitely better just because of how close they were. But man, I tell you what, Baker played outside his damn mind on Sunday. Probably, I mean, I wouldn't say it's the game of his career in the NFL so far, but it's probably the bookmark game of his career thus far. It's
a good learning experience for him.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of stuff too that, I mean, he bought a lot of time trying to get something happening going on offense and just different things like the no head-to-head call, the missed call there, for instance. There were a couple other plays, like the last drive they ended up having, not so much receivers failing their routes, but I mean just.
What do you think of the punt call?
Yeah, the punt call.
They punted to the Chiefs, and the Chiefs ran out the clock.
Yeah, with 5 minutes left or whatever?
It was about 5 minutes left.
I mean, that's the right football play.
I forget what it was.
I mean, it was just tough because they only had the one timeout left at that point. Still, I mean, you give Andy Reid that amount of time, man. But at the time, you also gotta remember, I mean, it's Chad Henne out there at that point. I think I would probably done the same call as Stefanski there.
Now, what do you think about the Chiefs' shotgun fourth down there call to close out the game?
Ballsy. If there was a coach to do it, Andy Reid's probably one of like the 3 I'd pick in the NFL to do it.
I think if Andy Reid doesn't win a Super Bowl, he's still got on the back of his mind that he's still that coach that chokes every year.
Are we talking hypothetically if they didn't win last year?
Yeah, if they didn't win last year. And he's a coach that's always known for choking every year. I don't think he makes that call. I think knowing that he's won a Super Bowl already.
That's a good point I never really thought of, actually.
And he's got really, I wouldn't say nothing to lose. Obviously, they're trying to win a Super Bowl this year. But I think it's a lot easier of a call knowing that he's got a Super Bowl in his pocket now.
Yeah, that's true. I can agree with that.
Yeah,
I can for sure agree with that. I didn't think of that actually.
When they went to shotgun, I was actually
as soon as
confident they were going to go for it.
Yeah, as soon as you drop back like that, because Henne initially did go under center.
Yeah, because you're wondering, like, you think he would go up to the line and try to get him to draw off.
Well, that's the thing. He did start up out front, and then he called an audible and dropped back. And at that point, like, I knew, like, okay, they're doing something.
I thought they might like hand it off or something.
That's what I thought.
I did not see a pass.
No,
that was crazy.
Yeah,
it was a beautiful play.
I mean, that's probably the more ballsier part in this is not actually running it, but the actual pass. Even if you're in shotgun, you run it. But I mean, passing it that
the Browns still needed a touchdown, right? Even if
they were. It was 22-17.
Yeah, so they needed a touchdown. It's not like they needed a field goal to win or tie the game.
And that's the thing. I mean, where they were with the ball, Kansas City with the ball. I mean, you're right in a honey hole spot for Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, but I like the call. It's definitely like you said, ballsy, and Andy Reid's definitely that kind of coach. Him or Sean Payton would have made that call right there.
Yeah. I tell you what, I will say this to Browns fans. It
was a great game.
Probably one of like 2 teams this year to come out of this year, I think, with fans, and you should be justifiably really excited for the future. You have a fun, exciting team brewing there. Couple pieces, and I don't think they have to necessarily be like superstar pieces to kind of bolster.
What do they do with Odell?
I think you have to keep them.
Really?
Well, unless you're able to get... So I think, to me, the Browns, what they need most is help linebacking core and secondary. Whether it's... I think if you're the Browns, I think you go more after a safety than a cornerback first. I mean, being honest, the team that's going to be interesting to watch offseason-wise with pieces are probably going to be the Saints. We'll touch on that quickly when we talk about them in the game recap, because they're going to be in cap hell next year. So, and they got really good defensive pieces. They were top 3 all year defensively, number 1 defense for the better part of the second half of the regular season. So it'll be interesting there. Browns I'd be excited for, especially in that division, because I don't see I don't see really anybody challenging them here.
No.
Possibly. I mean, I think the Ravens should, but I don't know if they're going to be able to.
The only tough part about the NFL is you never know from year to year. Like, you could have an up-and-coming team. Like that Falcons team was loaded offensively, and they never got back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The Panthers that one year, they never got back.
The Seahawks to a degree.
Like, the Bills, they're still in it. So, like, yeah, even the Bills, they got a bright future, got a great head coach now, you got a great young quarterback. But you can't act like you're going to be back next year. You got to go out and get it this year. Because you're never going to guarantee a spot back, especially in the NFL. It's the NFL, unless you're the Patriots or Tom Brady, you never can guarantee a spot back in the Super Bowl. And they got a great chance. It'd be really something.
Speaking of the Bills, let's discuss them.
Yeah.
Beat the Ravens 17-3.
That was kind of a shock. Not like, I'm not too shocked the Bills won, but
let me tell you the shocking part in this, because this is my hot take. Josh Allen is not the reason you won the football game. Your defense this time around was the reason why. Josh Allen kept you in it, okay? But your defense won you that game. The defense stepped up. Okay?
Oh, you are just turning off the Bills fans.
And seriously, Nick, you have my back in this. I am probably the biggest Josh Allen fan outside of being a Bills fan. This is a guy that I wanted as a Washington fan out of college. Yeah. I've been high on this dude since he was at Wyoming. I'm so happy he's come around. He was the permanent fantasy starting quarterback in Jerry 1 for me after week 2.
Yeah.
I mean, but Allen kept you in it, but your defense is what won you that game.
Yeah, other people step up. It wasn't Allen's best game, but his defense stepped up and helped with the win. Lamar Jackson got his first playoff win this year. He didn't look so good.
The Ravens need to bolster that line.
That interception was huge.
Yeah.
Like, the Ravens score there would have been, 17-10?
Yeah.
It would have been
no. It would have been 10-10 at that point.
Was it 10-3?
Yeah.
That was a huge interception. And probably
it'll probably go
down as one of the greatest.
The Bills literally played the best defense against Lamar post-college Lamar. I don't think the Bills played man outside of probably 5% of the snaps. Until Huntley went in there. They replaced Lamar when he got concussed as well. The interception, the pick six by Johnson, right? At the time, Mark Andrews, I almost called him Hayden Hurst for a second. Mark Andrews had, I forgot who was on him in zone read at that point, but he had the guy beat, right? And as soon as Lamar threw that ball, it became a triple coverage situation because they're because the defense is running effectively like a cover 5. They have 6 players off in zone coverage that literally what's going to happen is wherever the ball's thrown, 3 of them are going to converge on it, and that's what happened. I mean, you got to give a tip of the hat to Leslie Frazier on that one. He got an interview with Houston, so we'll see where he ends up. But guy who's been around now for a number of years, knows what he's doing, and ace the scouting report on Lamar.
I mean, you can think of the highs right now with the Bills fans. They just won 2 playoff games. Haven't won a playoff game since 96, whatever it was, or 95, or something like that. But now they're in the AFC Championship game for the first time since they went to the Super Bowls. And they got to go to Arrowhead, but it's just it doesn't get any easier because it's just so hard to think right now. If the Bills do go to the Super Bowl this weekend, that they could be potentially playing, and they'll know before, that they could be potentially going on the road in the Super Bowl against Tom Brady, who absolutely owns the Bills. Mm-hmm. And
where's the Super Bowl this year? I can't remember.
Tampa. So
we could have the first time in history.
Yeah. Just something to add to Tom Brady's career. He's just got...
And Bills fans have a little bit of PTSD about playing Super Bowls in Tampa.
Yeah. Was the Giants one there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom Brady's just got 6 Super Bowls.
No big deal.
He played in the first ever overtime game in the Super Bowl, and now he could take the first team to host a Super Bowl. He could take the worst franchise winning percentage in NFL history to the Super Bowl.
Greatest system quarterback of all time.
Yeah. They build him a nice super team there, too. Like, the weapons he has on that team is unbelievable.
I don't know what side's better of the ball, though. Let's jump into it. We might as well.
But it's just like, Bills fans are so high right now. But if they lose another Super Bowl to Tom Brady,
I ain't letting a single one of them who's been loud and obnoxious off of it.
yeah, they're not. They're out, but their team's good.
So I'll ask you, Nick. Did we see Drew Brees' last game?
The way he went off makes me think yes. He was pretty emotional. I say yes.
There's allegedly a video of him saying it's your team now to Jameis. Allegedly.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, probably. He's either going to pull what every other quarterback does besides Eli Manning. Eli Manning thought about going to a different team, but he retired as a Giant. Oh, that's right. Drew Brees played for the Chargers, though, anyway.
Yeah.
So, but he's a saint for life. And, yeah, I think it's the end. I don't see him going to another team. I think it's the end. Great career, very underrated quarterback. Obviously, doesn't have the Super Bowls like Tom Brady does, but he also played in a tough NFC for most of the time. Most of the time, the NFC was the better conference.
Well, I mean, not to be that guy, but how many years, in all fairness, did the Saints actually have the best team in the league, let alone the NFC, but the league, in either choke it away or something like that, right?
Yeah, they choked a lot.
And this is I don't want to bash him. Sean Payton's a great coach, but man, has he been overrated the past probably at least 5 years.
Yep. But
enough of the Taysom Hill nonsense. I hated listening to the broadcast with them bringing up Taysom Hill every 5 seconds.
Yeah, I don't want to compare it to college basketball, but it's win or go home.
Yeah,
one or done. And I mean, you look at a program like Gonzaga, even though they're good this year. But, it's hard.
Them boys for real, man.
It's hard to put it all together in a certain time and win the whole thing, And Saints did do that one year. They did go to the Super Bowl and win it that one year. It was a while ago. But same with the Packers.
10 years.
A while ago.
Yeah.
So, he has the one. Obviously, he'd be a lot more criticized if he kept choking. He didn't have any Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, it definitely goes as a negative on his career that he did choke in the playoffs so much. But that just also shows that he was good in the regular season for so many years and to get in the playoffs. So
I'm going to be honest before we move on, quickly touch on that Packers game. You talk about the weapons Brady has. That defense for Tampa Bay has really stepped up the second half of this year. What's crazy about that defense, they have one Pro Bowler on the team, and that is Jason Pierre-Paul. And in the second half of the year, metrically, they're a top 5 defense. Ndamukong Suh's played probably the best of his career. Devin White's a freaking animal, dude. And this Murphy Bunting guy in the secondary is a problem I wouldn't want to deal with if I'm a wide receiver.
Yeah. We talk about Brady, hosting a Super Bowl, the Bucs first team to ever do it. We talk about
possibly.
Yeah, possibly. We talk about the Bills getting to the Super Bowl for the first time in whatever years, and how it could be a Brady's Bills. In all fairness, it very well easily could be the 2 number 1 seeds. They're both at home. They're both been the best teams in their conference all year long. It could be easily the Packers Chiefs, which State Farm better make some commercials.
So speaking of the Packers, we'll touch on that game quick. I'll leave it on you. Kind of what I predicted. Goff struggled hardcore with that broken thumb in very cold conditions. What ended up being in Green Bay. Any main takeaways for you coming away from this game?
The main takeaway, it wasn't Goff who was playing with injury. It was Aaron Donald who was playing with injury.
Well, that as well.
Yeah, and that was even more huge than Goff, I think. Goff's a system quarterback. Sorry, Rams fans, That
hurts me even.
He does his job there. I like Goff. But Aaron Donald is arguably one of the best defensive linemen in the game, and he was playing with I don't remember what the injury was, but
Darnold, it was something to do with, I believe, his pec. Yeah. I could be wrong though.
He was out there playing, though, and, give him credit. They hung around.
He was only out there, though, for pass rushing plays, I noticed.
Yeah. They hung around that game, but the Packers got a team to win it all this year, and they got a really good team. I like to pick them, but I don't care too much about Aaron Rodgers as much. So I might pick them this week.
We are pinned, on the NFC side, the way we feel about those guys. But we'll do our picks anyway.
And come on, CBS, Fox. I mean, the Bills fans, credit. I hate to pick on the Bills fans, but come on. How can they fall Brady Rodgers? I know it's already preset, the NFC, AFC switch, but how can Bills
Because the kids want Mahomes, Nick. The kids want Mahomes.
I guess so. It might end up being the better game.
Well, Nick, you alluded to a game 1 at 3:05. Buccaneers go to Green Bay. Who you got?
Don't have any money on the line on this pick, but I'm going to say Tampa Bay wins. I'm going to say it. Rodgers, I've seen him before. Maybe not choking much at home, but I've seen him choke in the playoffs, and something about Brady, man. I didn't think they'd ever even come close to beating the Saints, and they did it. And they beat him pretty good, and I think he's going to host the Super Bowl this year.
We're in agreement.
Really?
I'm going Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great game.
The second game, Bills-Chiefs at 6:40. This game has, do we have probably the biggest question mark in the past decade of battling for a spot in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, reportedly symptom-free, still in protocol. As I said at work today to a couple of the guys, he'll be out of protocol, but will he be out of protocol?
I'll give some Bills fans some hope.
Yeah.
If Chan Henne's playing this game,
yes,
they're going to the Super Bowl.
I am with you, and that's the difficult part in actually making an outright prediction in this.
Yes. It's definitely tough to make it on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
If Chan Henne is in that game, the Bills are definitely going to the Super Bowl.
I do agree with that.
And
because the big thing with the Chiefs right now, and it's kind of been their MO the past couple years since Mahomes taken over full time, is that defense bends but doesn't break. They typically step up big when they need to step up. But, man, is that defense really bending the past few weeks.
Yep.
They really are.
unless this is the start of Josh Allen's trend. But since, I don't know, Super Bowl, whatever it was, Super Bowl 38 or something like that, it's either been Brady, Manning, Roethlisberger to come out of the
AFC.
The AFC. Besides, I think Flacco the one year, and then Mahomes last year.
Yeah.
And it could be Mahomes because I think there could be a dynasty starting with this Chiefs team.
Yeah.
And unless it's the dynasty of Josh Allen. Not saying if Mahomes plays, the Bills are not going to win the game. But
I mean, that X factor is just so big.
Either way, this would be a great learning experience for Josh Allen to play because this would be his biggest game he's ever played, and he's going to Arrowhead.
Even though he was a coordinator in that Super Bowl, this is McDermott's biggest moment as a coach, I think.
Yeah, but we've seen Jacksonville go on the road in the AFC title game. We've seen Tennessee last year go to the AFC title game on the road. I'm pretty sure the Jets back in the day when they lost a couple might have been on the road as well.
I mean, the Patriots won on the road 2 years ago.
Yep. No,
in Kansas City, that overtime. But they're the exception, I think, to the rule, more or less.
Yeah, they are. They
Did the Colts? Yeah, you mentioned
and
the
if
Colts.
that guy didn't go off sides either.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough to go to Arrowhead.
I mean, I'm going to have to make my prediction on the assumption that Mahomes is going to play.
Yeah, I think he is.
Like I said, it's like what I said. He'll be out of protocol, but will he be out of protocol type deal? And
I wouldn't be shocked.
I think as long as he's in the game, I think the Chiefs do pull it out. So I'm gonna go Chiefs.
I wouldn't be shocked if this is the better game.
Yeah,
even if the other one's the bigger headline.
Well, I think theoretically this should be the better game.
Yeah, but I got the Chiefs. Mahomes will play.
Yeah,
I got the Chiefs. It's gonna be heartbreaking for Bills fan, but wouldn't be surprised if you guys get it done.
Yeah. This game, I think, is a bit harder, and that's that's the one bad spot about being on Tuesday nights, at least recording and going live, is we're so far out injury wise, in this situation. Although, like I said, all signs point to to Mahomes playing, so we'll see, obviously. And that's going to be the interesting part about the line. I think the Bills are like 2.5-point favorites right now. Last time I checked,
Vegas has been pretty good with their lines.
Yeah.
So far.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like what I've been saying. Like last week, I mean, you'd be dumb not to take the Browns. Even when I went out there Sunday morning to Del Lago, they were 9.5-point dogs. I mean, I'm still looking at them like you're dumb not to take 9.5 at that point. So
you got it.
Yeah.
Didn't win your parlay though.
No. Okay. Speaking of winning and gambling, the gamble pays off for James Harden. In terms of what we'll kind of get into a little bit as we discuss the trade as a whole. James Harden, a Brooklyn Net.
Do we have Pat, Brooklyn Net fan, on Zoom?
We do not. So I will give everybody the rundown of the trade quick before we get right into it. A lot of layers in this trade. Ended up being effectively a 4-team deal. So the Nets received James Harden, obviously, and a 2014 second-round pick from Cleveland. The Cavaliers in that trade get Jarrett Allen, Taurean Prince, the rights to Alexander Vesnikov, the 57th overall pick in 2017. I believe one of the only picks drafted out of Russia outside of Karolinko, something like that. But just remember that for trivia later on. That's what the Cavs get. The Rockets received Karis LeVert initially. My guy on the Nets, my favorite player on the Nets, Rodions Kurucs, 00, and 3 first-round picks, 22, 24, and 26, and 4 first-round pick swaps, 21, 23, 25, 27 from the Nets. They also get guard Dante Exum and the 2022 first-round pick from the Cavs. The draft pick is via Milwaukee. And then the fourth team on the deal that technically is in on this, the Rockets send Karis LeVert to the Pacers for Victor Oladipo. And briefly, I want to mention this because this is an overlooked part in this. Had Karis LeVert not get traded, obviously I think many people who follow basketball saw the news that he has a growth on his kidney, is out indefinitely. This trade arguably probably saved his life to some degree. So really incredible. Thinking of obviously Karis and his family. This is a guy who has a lot of talent and has had extremely bad health luck in his career. So obviously good vibes going to Karis's way. It's really crazy. This is not the first instance where this has happened. It's happened in other sports, but that's the one part of this deal that's going to get overlooked, but might actually be the biggest part of this deal in the grand scheme of things. So, Nick, I'll ask you, what did you make of this trade initially? Because obviously the rumblings up until the trade actually became official was Harden to the Sixers.
Yeah, obviously I think the Nets won this trade right now.
Yeah.
But right there, who won this trade? I think the Cavs won this trade.
Wow.
Because what did they give up?
That's true.
They gave up nothing. They just get Jarrett Allen. Like you're saying, yeah, Jarrett Allen's not a tremendous player, but just to get him for nothing? I mean, I think the Cavs won this trade. I think the Nets won this trade because they still got some nice pieces. I know they say they don't have much of a bench, but I was thinking about it today. I was listening to some podcasts. And they were saying how I forget. They were saying how the Nets they were naming off players on the Nets bench, and I was like, you know what? They still got a decent team.
Yeah.
And so I still think the Nets are all right, even though with the 2 stars. Sorry, almost called Kyrie a star there. Kyrie's a nice player. I think he's kind of a ball hog. He's an all right player. He's a nice player. Not all right, nice player. Okay. But I think that they still got a decent bench. So I think they won the trade. You're getting James Harden. Obviously, I think they look really good with just Durant and Harden. We'll see how Irving plays in it. As Charles Barkley said,
they'll be back tomorrow, I believe, is their next game.
Yeah, I think so. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like Charles Barkley said, Kevin Durant went from the Splash Brothers to the Dribble Brothers.
Yes.
And we'll see how it plays out. But the Cavs, not to give up anything, just to get Jared Allen and some other stuff.
Taurean Prince is good. I've been a Taurean guy since he was in Atlanta.
Yeah, and the Rockets, they did make another trade to get Oladipo. They traded LeVert, like you said. And,
as you say, Christian Wood's team to win now.
Yeah. Yeah. I like what the Rockets have. You got a decent player out of it. Oladipo in the end of it. And you have Les Rama now. You don't have a guy that doesn't want to be there, doesn't even come to training camp in shape. And now you got a guy in Oladipo, another solid player, plays the same position. And
this is the part of the podcast where I'm going to say, pop the trunk, it's story time.
Okay.
You ready for this mini history/trivia lesson? Did you know after they won the championship in 1994, Hakeem Olajuwon demanded a trade away from the Rockets and did effectively the same thing that Harden did until he got a better contract? So we almost had a situation where Hakeem the Dream could have been, I don't even know where the hell he would have gone in 95. When you think back on it, the contenders at the time all had good bigs, right? Obviously the Knicks had Pat Ewing, Hall of Famer. The Pacers had Rick Smits, who all-star, good enough. I don't think, although I think if you have the opportunity to get Hakeem, I think you do that. Orlando has Shaq, right? It's pretty nutty when you think about it.
Yeah. I don't know that.
Yeah, so pop the trunk. Story time's over.
And speaking of story times,
yeah.
I believe today is whatever anniversary of Notre Dame upsetting UCLA's winning streak.
How about that?
I saw that on PTI today.
Back in 1970, was that technically 70?
We will look it up, and I will tell you at the end of the show.
Was it technically 71? Whatever, you look it up, and we'll have that guessing game at the end.
Yeah, since we have no intern on this show, I will do all this research.
So, Jared, the Cavs, I think you're right. I think the Cavs actually do come out pretty good winners on this deal. Andre Drummond, we witnessed it last Friday night firsthand. Having a really good year again. But he's probably expendable again to a degree. Goes to a contender possibly now because of this. It's pretty crazy. Anything to add, Nick, before we go to the hot stove?
It looks like it was...
Don't say it
1970... Yet. Where is it?
Is it 1?
74.
Oh, wow. Way off.
74. Yep.
All right, let's do hot stove before we get out of here, Nick, because the stove is finally heating up. Call it whatever you want. Getting lukewarm, getting boiling. Take your pick.
How about the Mets?
I was about to say, obviously the news coming out today with now their former GM. The Mets are going to Met no matter what. Yeah, the Lindor trade, I didn't think it was going to happen preseason, but it did. And to me, the Mets gave up fairly little overall to get him. You got a guy who hasn't played a single minor league game yet because of the season being canceled this year. You have another guy, they get to experience. Poor Cleveland. They go from Lindor to having to experience the Ahmed Rosario.
Cleveland baseball
team. Oh, my gosh.
team.
No, well, wait. They'll be the Indians this year, I think. Right?
Really?
I could be wrong, yeah.
I feel like they're getting rid of that automatic, right away.
I think they're doing Indians for a year. Either way. And then, so obviously stuff happens. The Rays dealing Blake Snell to the Padres. Yu Darvish goes from the Cubs to the Padres. The Padres are loading up. They get a deal done yesterday with the Pirates getting Joe Musgrove. Effectively another 3-team deal, if you will.
And Clevenger's not even playing for him.
Yeah, Clevenger, a deal from last year. So obviously the Padres are gunning for the Dodgers. They're probably going to be the fun team to watch in the West this year. Man, you know, I feel bad to a degree for the Pirates fans here, but like at least like this GM, I think that you guys got now recognizes, hey, we might as well just get the best value you can for our best guys because we're not going to be able to do anything immediately. They got exciting young pieces. Like so Nick, I'm going to tell you and the viewers and listeners something. Brian Hayes going to be a solid flyer, I think, to take in fantasy.
He's a good player. He's the only young talent we got.
Yeah.
That's definitely worth it.
I don't know what's going to happen with O'Neal Cruz.
Vanessa Hudgens going to be at the game?
Cole Tucker. Well, if they have fans.
She'll get there.
But
you didn't know she's dating Cole Tucker.
And I mean, Joe Musgrove's a good guy, but definitely not even an ace of I think any staff overall, probably. And I think you guys got a decent return for him nonetheless. But
well, if he's anything else like the other Pirate pitchers, like the Garrett Coles, the Charlie Mortons.
Well, they're from a different coaching era too. Well, to be fair, Musgrove got there.
Yeah. That's true. But, the Garrett Coles, the Charlie Mortons, if you want to even go back, the Jose Batistas, they go and hit 50.
Pouring out. Neil Walker, hello.
Neil Walker's good years with the Pirates.
Yeah.
Come on. Save him McCutcheon. And
Starling Marte.
Starling Marte.
James Harrison. James Harrison's best years were definitely with Pittsburgh.
Yes. Yeah. He definitely was. He's definitely gone downhill. But
do you want to know what I found out yesterday? Fun fact. Another fun fact, not to be whatever. Do you want to know who I found out has the 50th best WAR in MLB history? Or he's tied for 50th best WAR in MLB history.
I have no idea.
Pirate left fielding legend Brian Giles.
He was an underrated player.
Yes.
He was a little before I started watching.
He had an unfortunately relatively short career, but he did it on his own terms.
He was really good.
Yes.
He was in the Jason Bay.
He was in the Jason Bay trade.
Oliver Perez was in that trade, too.
Yep.
And Jason Bay, my first ever idol that I looked up to. Then it became McCutcheon.
Canadian GOAT.
It's both of them right now.
Canadian GOAT, Jason Bay.
Yeah, he is. But I think the Padres are definitely making some moves. I was going to say, do you know how the playoffs are working this year? They don't even.
The hot rumor right now is 12 teams.
That's just crazy. Baseball is literally supposed to start pitchers and catchers for less than a month now.
Yeah.
And they have no rules set for the season.
What's that tell you? Well, the one rule that it's not official, but it's one of those unofficially official, is the DH is only will be AL this year, but pretty much at the next CBA, Universal DH is probably going to go through. So get it while you can on all fans, I guess, who really care enough about that rule.
Ban the DH.
Oh, no.
National League guy.
Legalize the DH. God, I can't stand watching some of these pitchers bad anymore. It's just ugly.
Ban it. But I say if it is like the old playoff format, if it is the one-game playoff still, which I think they're done with that, that's done.
Well, I mean, it's a different discussion we've even had on here before.
It's just either way, 3-game series and whatnot, not getting to that divisional round.
Yeah.
The Padres, they're building a great team, and they probably still will end up with a wild card just because.
The Dodgers. Although I think that's probably will be a little bit closer than people think.
It will be fun to watch. But I think you're looking at them as the second place
for sure
in that division. And so it sucks. You can build as much as you want, but divisions are still, out of every sport in hockey a little bit too, but I guess the NFL. Divisions are huge. I'm just thinking basketball. NBA, they mean nothing anymore.
That's true.
I don't even know if they mean anything in divisions. Divisions in NBA is something like you can ask an average NBA fan. He probably couldn't even name who the divisions are in the NBA, which is other sports.
Pacific, Northwest, Southwest, North.
I'm talking about
Central,
naming the teams
South,
in the division.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they probably wouldn't.
No,
I'm with you on that one.
Average baseball fan could probably name the MLB division.
Oh, hands down.
Because they've been like that for years.
For the most part, yeah.
NHL's had a few now.
Well, I mean, this year's different with the NHL because they're doing it differently. But yeah, I know what you mean.
NFL's been pretty solid.
Yep.
But, baseball, though, I'm still going to go out. Baseball divisions mean the most.
Yes, 100%.
To win that division.
Well, I think seeding means the most in baseball, which is, I know what you mean.
I'm just
but
saying,
by proxy, yeah, divisions do mean the most out of that.
Winning a division title in baseball is absolutely huge, and it sucks for the Padres because they're playing the Dodgers.
Probably only for one more year.
But there's still moves to be made.
Yeah, I mean moves made today. Obviously, we didn't mention LeMahieu last week.
Yep.
But LeMahieu's deal gets done with the Yankees.
which is kind of a surprise.
Probably like the second most prized, potentially first most prized bullpen arm, depending upon who you ask. Liam Hendricks went to the White Sox. And then at that point,
obviously.
And then depending upon who you ask, the other one being Kirby Yates, signed with Toronto today. Tyler Chatwood, fun fact, also signed with Toronto today.
What's crazy about MLB most of the time, I have to really look at all the rosters and keep up with who's moved and who. They move a lot in baseball.
I think the biggest free agent left now out on the market has to be JT Realmuto, the catcher.
I'm sure Chris Archer fan.
Well, my money is Realmuto probably goes back to Philly at this point.
Realmuto.
I know. Trust me, as a Yankee fan, I love to have him. Unfortunately, we're really in a box because of Gary, because we decided not to move him when we should have early on, like I said. So it's going to be tough, and plus we need the money for.
Do you like Kluber?
Yeah, I like the 1 year deal. 1 year's $10 million. I like it. He's probably going to end up taking Tanaka's spot. Unfortunately, it sounds like Tanaka's probably going back to Japan. And that just rips my soul out.
I just can't wait to like.
You wanna know who's is linked to the Yankees? You're gonna probably hate it. Michael Brantley.
Really?
Yep.
Why do I hate that?
I figured you'd just be like, why would Brantley, a good guy, want to go to?
I hate it, Paul.
Although to be fair, he did play in Houston the past year and a half, so.
I just can't wait. In like a month from now, I'll be putting MLB Network back on.
Well, I watch it right now.
Yeah, I watch it every once in a while, but
everything baseball is starting back up. We have the Hall of Fame vote next week. We'll discuss that.
Jeter ever going to get announced?
This summer, hopefully.
The 99.9% Jeter.
Oh, my God. Me and Pat actually had a nice discussion about that the other day. But,
really?
Yeah, it was civil.
You should start recording your conversations with Pat.
That's illegal, Nick.
Recording your conversations?
Yeah.
With Pat and putting it over as long as unless he's all right with it.
I don't know.
But, baseball's almost here.
Yeah.
Less than a month.
We'll be discussing obviously a little more baseball next week, like I said, with the Hall of Fame stuff.
That's when diehard baseball fans get all excited because people are playing catch.
Oh, I love it though. I mean, it's just you know what I mean. An outdoor sport gets back outside. You know what I mean? It's just
especially injured players. They get there early.
Well, you have like really great stories too in spring training. Like last year, kind of the deal with Aaron Barrett for the Nationals. Local people might know that name. Started his professional career in Auburn, and then ended up back in Auburn a couple of years ago, starting his rehab assignment from literally pretty much completely blowing his arm out. Great story, worth the Google. So
is spring training too long?
Yes and no. It's a weird I don't think they need to play as many games as they do. In a sense,
I thought that inter-squad stuff was pretty cool.
Yeah, but I also understand you need to get the pitchers and catchers there really before anybody. I remember CC Sabathia was talking about one time how he said it takes him almost a month and a half to actually get in a groove of things pitching wise. So, I mean,
for a fan, you're like, it's the end of March. Let's get this thing going.
Well, yeah, and that's the way it is anyway now. Just the way they do cuts and everything. Pretty much you're actually getting some decent games at the end of spring training now because you have guys who the way they do cuts now is because it's a completely different debacle because I think you're going to end up seeing in the CBA again. But the way they do service time, you typically don't have those top prospects anymore the final week. It's the MLB veterans who are battling for that last spot in the bullpen or that last utility spot on the bench. So you do usually get some good games that last week, but I do know I'm with you 100%.
One thing about being a sports fan of all sports, during that time it's college basketball central in a normal sports.
Yes, and it will be this year, but they announced the schedule
usually takes center stage. NBA, NHL is kind of in the
This year will be kind of at midway.
Actually, probably a lot better action.
Yeah.
NBA, NHL during March this year.
Yeah,
but almost here.
Especially NBA, NHL. They usually just they play hard anyway. They don't give it.
Weather up here, you never know. It could be snowing. It could be nice. Who knows?
All right, that takes us to the end of the show this week.
Nick, who you shouting out this week?
Hold on, I have to go through this part. Thanks for tuning in, all that stuff. Nick, who are you shouting out this week?
One last note I'll make is
yes, go ahead.
Tiger Woods.
Oh, I did see that. Yes,
back surgery. Get well soon.
I didn't see a timeline for him to heal. That makes me worried for Masters.
Yeah, I don't think he's playing a tournament before the Masters. Yeah. Even if he plays in the Masters,
he's been doing that though the past couple years. Well, not last year, but he's been doing it the past couple normal years.
Yeah. It's going to be tough. It might be his first tournament back, but we will see. My shout-out today, though, is my college friend and my old roommate, Tyler Auble. He's a Bills fan, so he's excited. I talked to him today, writing a story about Bills fans.
Help Nick out if you're a Bills fan, by the way.
Yeah, and we play fantasy soccer together. Yeah, I'm in a fantasy soccer league, and he helped me out with my team the other day. So
you play fantasy soccer?
Yep, I do. My star player is Thomas Müller of Germany.
Oh.
And
who does he play for in the Bundesliga?
Is it Bayern Munich, I believe? I believe.
I'm flaunting my FIFA 13 knowledge.
I needed help. He helped me out, and I miss living in college with him. We had a good apartment.
I just miss college.
But, I hope him and his fiancee Nicole are doing well.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah, they just got engaged. But my shout out today is only for Tyler. Shout out Tyler.
Wow, not the fiance. I'm disappointed.
Shout out Nicole.
There you go. Congratulations. All right, like I said, thanks for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe. It went over. Wear your mask. We'll catch you next week.